Me before, you'll see that I started doing a playthrough of Fallout 4, where I was sort of gonna give out some hints and tips. I'll be honest, of all the games of Fallout 4 I've played, that one probably went the worst. Not that you know, I'm ashamed of it. It just didn't go as good as some of the other games I've played. So because I've played it, you know, about 3 times now, I thought, I don't know, maybe I should look at a mod. So I was having a look at the mods, and I found a mod, and it's called Director's Cut. Apparently, this mod should fix a load of bugs, of which, you know, I know Fallout 4 has got some annoying bugs in it. In fact, I came across one last night playing on my kind of level 80 game. I found that at Abernathy Farm there are 3 rows of plants which actually don't work. There are 3 rows of potatoes at Abernathy Farm which don't work, and a plant which says it's damaged and it needs repair. So I thought, okay, well, I'll, you know, it says repair with 1 potato or tato. So I repaired it and repaired it and repaired it. I must have spent 50 potatoes repairing it, thinking, oh, well, maybe it needs 1 for each of the plants in, you know, that's not producing. No, it's a bug. It's a bug. What you have to do is uproot the 3 rows of potatoes, and they, but you can store them. You don't have to destroy them. You can go store. There's 3 rows of them, I don't know, about 30 in total, and then you can replant them, and then they count towards the output. The one that is damaged, you cannot remove, you cannot do anything, you can never repair it, you can't do anything. Apparently you're just stuck with it. I also found that Abernathy Farm seems to be a root of a lot of bugs in the standard PS4 version. When you order you know, settlers there to do stuff, sometimes they do, sometimes they just don't. Also, I built a marketplace there. I had a whole load of stalls, all the usual stalls, and they were all working fine, apart from the armour stall and the weapons stall. Whenever I went there and tried to trade with them, all they would say to me is, yeah? Huh? Yeah? What? Yeah? What do you want? And I tried dismissing them and dismantling the thing and putting it back together and, I don't know, sending them to another settlement and then going to another settlement and sending somebody over to Abernathy Farm and then associating them with the, you know, with the stall. Endless trouble. Something very bugged with Abernathy Farm. Anyway, so I thought, I don't know, I've played this game several times. So apparently the director's cut, which is installed on this game here, which I've already started, I admit, I'm sorry, so you don't get to watch it from the start, although, you know, if you've played Fallout 4, you'll know how it goes. So, apparently it fixes lots of bugs, and also, apparently, unlocks a whole load of material, which, somehow or other, it's not added anything that Sony or whatever, you know, or Bethesda didn't put in the game. Apparently there's a whole load of stuff in the game, in the code, that isn't you know, available in the standard PS4 Fallout release. So, according to this mod, it simply fixes a load of bugs, apparently based mostly on what is known as the unofficial Fallout 4 patch or something. Anyway, I'm not a mod person, I don't know, so I've never really messed about with mods. So anyway, I thought, okay, well, if I'm going to install that, it says Fallout 4, Director's Cut, you know, Fallout 4 as it was intended. So I thought, okay, that sounds good. And then I was scrolling through the mods, and there's all sorts of mods, and they range from utterly trivial things, like, you know, give all the women in the game bigger breasts. Right, okay, if you're into that, fine, there's a mod for that. You can give all the women in the game bigger knockers. Fine. You know, if that's your bag, great, go for it. You know, endless cheats. All right, you know, don't have to, never have to do the computer terminal hacking. Never have to do the lock unpicking. You know, you have to get the levels and the perks to reach each one. But basically, there are mods that will say, okay, so the terminal only ever shows you one password, and the safe zone for the lock is always the whole lock. So basically, you stick a bobby pin in and it'll unlock. Okay, fine. If you know, to some extent, it's like, okay, there are mods to give your companions more carrying capacity, to give yourself infinite ammo, or your companion infinite ammo, or unlock all the resources in the world. Fine. There are some which might appeal to me to some extent, the things that say, okay, are you annoyed that when you're building your settlement there are certain things that you can't have? And I'll admit, you know, when you get quite deep into the game, you get to level, I don't know, 60, 70, 75, and you're trying to build things, you do sometimes get a bit annoyed. You think, well, I saw this poster, a film poster, in one of the, I don't know, one of the bunkers I went in. There's a nice picture of there's a nice film poster sort of saying such and such on the moon, featuring Jangles the Moon Monkey, right? You know, we all find Jangles the Moon Monkey everywhere. There's a really nice film poster advertising the film that obviously is meant to be where he comes from. As far as I'm aware, in the standard game, you cannot put that poster on your wall. Anyway, so there are mods to unlock that, and cheats and endless things, and better weather and better water and more foliage and tidier streets and anything you want. To be fair, anything you want. Anyway, so I thought I'll go with this, and then I found one, and I probably need to check its exact title. Let me look at mods, and you will see. What does it say here? I found one, and it's something to do with them. It's to do with the Minutemen, because I must admit I do like to follow the Minutemen. Okay, I find that one of the more interesting things to do. Okay, and it's called Liberty Reborn, a Minuteman overhaul. Okay, one of the most popular overhaul mods for Xbox and PC makes its way to the PS4. This mod has been specially built from the ground up for PS4. The goal is to keep the feel of the original but follow Sony's restrictions. This means PS4 users cannot use the new custom Minutemen assets, textures and special features, but I have done my best to replicate my mod for the PS4 users to enjoy. This is my first time for PS4, so if any issues arise, let me know. So yeah, I know I'm playing with fire a little bit. Liberty Reborn is a Minutemen overhaul mod that aims to make the Minutemen worth siding with. This mod completely overhauls the Minutemen by giving them better gear, stats and other additional features. The mod will turn the Minutemen from simple farm hands into a proper army you can lead proudly into battle. No longer do the Minutemen get weaker as you progress and level up, but get stronger as do you. This in turn actually makes siding with the men worth it, as they can finally deal with the late game enemies, which is true. I'll be honest. The biggest problem with siding with the Minutemen is at the start. You know, as you develop your settlements and arm your settlers and whatnot. Something I've discussed before, but you know, a trick I've discovered over the games, and every time I've played it, I've started doing it earlier, to be honest. You know, you should start arming and, if necessarily, armouring your settlers, because they, you know, they've all, sorry, they've all got these terrible, you know, .38 pipe pistols, pea shooters, you know, that spit out 10 damage. Now, when your settlements are small and they got 4 or 5 settlers and they get raided, if they've only got, you know, a bunch of .38 specials, guess what? they get clobbered and their stuff gets hammered, and you spend half your time going around repairing their smashed up water pumps and their damaged crops and their broken generators and so on. Right. So yeah, start arming your people earlier on. Give them laser rifles and shotguns and things, and guess what? When the raiders arrive, instead of getting a hail of pea shooters shot at them, they suddenly get clobbered. And you know those things where it's constantly go and help Outpost Simonja, you know, protect the coastal cottage which is under attack. You get there, and your settlers, who are already armed to the teeth, have already beaten the raiders off before you can whip your pistol out of your holster, mate. Anyway, but later on in the game, the Minutemen are useless. Yeah, you know, in the middle of a fight with a bunch of synths and whatever, or Brotherhood of Steel in power armour, you fire a flare, you get a load of farmhands with 38 pistols. What use is that? No, nothing. So I thought I'd give that mod a go. And to top it off, I've added an utterly trivial little mod which I've discovered called the Ring of Burial, which means all it does is when you end up after a raid and there are bodies everywhere, no longer do you have to kind of just put up with them laying around there rotting for months, or dragging them somewhere and trying to chuck them behind a hedge outside. With this tiny little mod, all you do is, if it's somebody you've killed, it doesn't work for corpses laying around already, unfortunately. You have to drag them out of the way still if you can. But what you do is you know, it adds to the take or transfer menu. When you're looking at the dead body on the ground, you hold triangle to bury them. You know, you can drag them somewhere out of the way to bury them, or, you know, if they're too heavy or whatever, just bury them. And it leaves an earth mound. Not the tidiest thing, but at least it just gets rid of all those horrible corpses littering your nice settlements. So I thought I'd give that a go. It's harmless. So here we go. Sorry, right, so you've missed the start because I wasn't really intending to stream this one, but I thought, why not? If I'm going to do something a bit different, and this has gone much, much better than the last one. So I exited the vault, you know, I came home, I did all the usual stuff you do here. I went to Red Rocket, I fetched dog meat,
Vinny, I swear to God, you talk to me ever again and I'll turn you into soup.
Be mine, thank you. Vinny! Sorry, that's my dog. Hey! So, I did the usual stuff. I came here, I did the absolute basics. I went to Red Rocket Truck Stop, you know, grabbed the workshop there. I picked up dog meat here, and then I decided this time I was only level 3, and I thought, no, to hell with it, I will actually go straight to Concord. A bit of a risky plan, I know. So I went to Concord. I picked up along the way some Raider, what was it? Anyway, I picked up some weak leather, I don't know, road leathers or something like that. Anyway, a bit better than the Vault suit, so I put that on, and I went to Concord. I sneaked around the outside of Concord. I did the bit, if you don't know, if you go around the outside of Concord, you find some guys threatening to kill a synth. If you're lucky, you can convince them to let him go. He runs off. And thank you very much. Oh, Joe! Right, sorry, that's my boy trying to bloody crash my stream by starting something on one of his other
You don't mind
games.
making
Right.
a chair for old Mama Murphy, do you?
Oh, do stop whining, woman.
Can't you just use any chair?
The site's been real exhausting lately. Got aches and pains, even when I'm lying down.
Oh, yeah.
It's hard asking for a fitted chair in this day and age. It would really help me out.
It's so wearing. I need to have,
Sure. Glad to help.
Thank you.
One of these houses would be a good place to set up some beds.
Oh, stop badgering me. Right, anyway, so, I went into Concord, I did go round the outside, did the thing, you meet Fred and somebody, and you get convinced. I was lucky this time, it's a certain amount of luck. I convinced them to let the scene go, and he runs off. They then tell you to bugger off. So then I sneaked around the outskirts of Concord. You can go in the speakeasy, you can go in the workhouse, grab a few bits and pieces there. Then I made my way down to the Museum of Freedom. Got into the Museum of Freedom. Reasonably easy this time, didn't get an absolute hammering. Crept around, killed a guy, took his armour. As you can see, this is actually sturdy combat armour. It's not very much gunner-esque. Pretty good stuff. So I grabbed that. Did the thing. You know, go down, get the fusion core, grab the power armour. Top tip, by the way, once you get up on the roof and you get the power armour and the minigun, don't waste the minigun on fighting the raiders. Use whatever else you got, you know, doesn't matter. 10mm pistol, short pipe rifle, the bloody god-awful short laser musket, which is terrible, because you have to manually crank it every single shot, whatever, doesn't matter. You know, take them out with grenades, Molotov cocktails. You know, use your VATs to its best advantage. Just, I was lucky this time, I admit. I did fairly well. I did not get, you know, I managed to pick them off. Preston seemed to be doing a good job of sniping them from his balcony with his rubbishy, you know, long laser musket or whatever the hell it is. Anyway, so I got through that. Then the Death Claw appears. If you're familiar with the game, the Death Claw appears. That can. Last time the last game I was streaming, that went absolutely terribly wrong. I must have died 4, 5, 6 times. Went awfully. This time, went exactly as planned. Got up on the roof. You know, I'm up on the roof. I've taken out the raiders with pistols and the musket and the couple of short pipe rifles and whatnot. Anything I got to hand. Then, when the Death Claw appears, it comes running down the street. It gets halfway down the street. I get it in my sights. I pour about 500 rounds of minigun ammo in it. Preston's, you know, shooting it with his laser. Then it runs away, goes down the side alley. Wait, it comes out. You do it again. Rinse, repeat, a couple of times. Then it got to the bit where it just disappeared. It buggered off down the side alley, and it was not going to come out. You know, I tried moving roofs and shuffling about, hoping that I could get it. In the end, I resorted to jumping off the roof, running down the street, and engaging it. The result of that, of course, was that my armour got a clobbering, and also I burned up the fusion core that you get, because at the beginning a fusion core doesn't last very long. So, having done that, I made sure I'd swept Concord, picked up all the stuff I could, went back, rendezvoused with Jack, took a diversion at the Red Rocket. If you've played before, you may or may not know, underneath Red Rocket, around the back of Red Rocket, there is a mole den, mole rat den. And if you go in the mole rat den and fight the mole rats, there's, you know, a safe and some various other loot you can pick up. And amongst that is fusion core. See that? Fusion core. So I have basically a brand new fusion core, which I collected.
Carry yourself, dear.
And so now I have set power up. Interestingly, normally when you pick up this power armor, it's a suit of T45 and it's all T45. Guess what? This one, I don't know if this is to do with the mod, but this one is a T45F torso, which is high as they go. Never seen that before. Always just a bog standard set of T45. This was military T45F torso. So I've come home, repaired it all. I've added, I've upgraded it all. Obviously, all the rest of it, because I can only go to B at the moment, because obviously I don't have any mods. I'm level 3. So I've done T45B throughout. Obviously, I've already got the bonus of T45. I've added military paint until I've run out of materials. So I've got a right leg and a right arm, which are not yet painted in military paint. C'est la vie. I am now... Sturgis is now telling me, Moan, we need beds, Moan, we need this, Moan, we need the other. So now it's time to go into workshop mode. Obviously, at this point, fusion cores are critical for your power armor and burn up very quickly. So, unsurprisingly, the best way to do this is not to use my power armor. You know, the next, you know, almost the first thing on my list after the absolute basics, like you know, get your lock picking up to passable, get you know, at least 2 levels of lock picking, so you're on, you know, at least advanced. The first perk I take is almost always life giver. You know, give yourself 20 extra, you know, or 20 extra hit points or whatever it is. Because when you start out, you literally absolutely need every bloody penny, you know, every life point you can get. So here we are. We're in the tidy up the place, which is also known as pretty much flatten the site for materials. There's a weird kind of thing here about, you know, green and yellow, and I'm not quite sure what that's about. Never have been. Something to do whether you can move it or not, I think. Main point right at the start, as far as I'm concerned, is, you know, what you need is you want to just clear the site. No, this is your settlement. If you're going to have a settlement, you need to have a clear site. You know, you need to know what you're dealing with. And by the way, you don't want a load of trees and stuff. See, is that water deep enough? I don't know. Can I put a water supply in there? Maybe I can. That would be interesting. I don't think I've ever done that before. Usually I just stick a load of pumps in. Of course, obviously at the start of the game, often the simplest thing to do is to put pumps in because they're cheap and easy to build. Also, of course, if you're going to play this game, you need to be resource management is everything, right? So one of the first things we're doing is clean up the site. I don't know why you have to do it personally, because in reality you'd go, oi, you lazy bunch of skiving settlers. Have you ever noticed, if you played this game, when you want to need to you know, assign some people to when you need to assign some people to doing stuff like farming or scavenging or something. No, nobody's to be found. No, they've all vanished. Yeah, classic. Right. Anyway, that's just me. Right. Scrap all the junk. Clear the place. You know, get rid of the. By the way, if you want to start the game with a a clean site and not all this stuff littered around, there's plenty of mods where it's already done for you if you like, and all clean and yeah. This is the only other problem you'll find. Bethesda's snap together is a bit weird. Yeah, it does weird shit like this. They don't. You'll find that later when you try and build a shack using their. See, that doesn't make any sense, does it? See, what's that all about? So they don't line up. I don't know what. Don't work, don't snap together. Never mind. You get used to that. That's just how this game is. Like, what's that? It's a gate. I don't know. Anyway, cleaning up is the name of the game, and it's all, I will assure you, in the name of resources. All this scrapping. Let's just get rid of this junk. Clear the site. Oh, that's interesting. I've never come across that before. I don't think I've ever poked around behind there before. Okay, interesting. A cellar. Wonder if there's actually anything in that cellar. Right, okay. All these tree stumps and rotted cars and broken street lamps. Let's just get rid of it all, right? Unfortunately, in this, in the sort of vanilla-ish, you can't get rid. Nobody owns a broom. Apparently, despite the fact that you loot endless brooms, nobody owns one. Right? It's been 200 years. Nobody's bothered to sweep up the bloody leaves. There you go. I don't know. 200 years after the end of the world, you'd think they might have managed to sweep the street. And if that's what you're into, there are mods to do that, apparently. Seeing as I'm new to mods, I didn't really want to get into a whole load of, adding hundreds and hundreds of mods, like anything, right? I work with computers. Only alter the minimum number of things at once. If you update your system and your software and this and that and the other, you're kind of doing too much, do too much. You just bits, right, when, some of this stuff. Anyway, I mean, if I kind of had a complaint about this game, from the point of view of, the sort of whole rebuilding stuff, right? Would just be like, kind of, why can some of this stuff not be repaired? I'm not saying right at this point in the game, right now, okay, just tarting the place up will do, yeah. Just tart the place up, that's fine, yeah. But later in the game, you kind of, when you've built all sorts of things here and you've got lights and all sorts of stuff, you kind of get to you've built, like here, right? This here is where I will build my shack or house, or call it what you will. Okay, here is where I traditionally build my own personal little palace, at least until later in the game. Further on in the game you move on, but some of this stuff just like, yeah, right, get rid of it. Goodbye. Right, broken, get rid of it. I don't want it, go away. Right, you, it's gone, okay. You, go. I don't want it, I want it clean and tidy. Oh, I don't mind those blocks there. Right, clean and tidy, I want this place clean and tidy. Boy, you horrible settlers, get to work tidying this place up. They're half an idle bunch, really, when it comes to that. They're not in the least bit interested in cleaning up. You know, I want rid of it all. Get rid of it. So there are mods, should you be interested in that, which will actually give you, although it says, you know, most of them I've looked have said, you're going to use these, you know, they don't work with this mod and they don't work with that mod, and you know, you've got to be careful at sort of stacking mods on mods. So I thought, you know, being new to mods, I'll just go with the whole kind of, let's just do one thing at a time. Well, strictly speaking, I've done 3, but I don't think the Ring of Burial counts as thing. That's very trivial, just helps you get rid of the dead bodies. But yes, things like you know, clean sanctuary and cleaned up sanctuary means that you can come and all this stuff's already been done. Okay, if you want that, you can come here and all the stuff has been, all the stuff that can be scrapped has been scrapped and removed, and you know, all this stuff, right? They've scrapped and cleaned it all, and there's even things where they've, you know, done fill-in textures, and yes, by the way, you can store stuff instead of scrapping it. If you think you might want some of this stuff later, some of the chairs and things I'll leave. Rugs, right, here's a good reason why you scrap some of this stuff. Right, you don't get much out of tellies, right, wood, steel, glass. A lot of this stuff in reality you just don't need later, you know, a hat stand, really. Yeah, sure, you know. But by the time you really start worrying about the aesthetics of why you want this and that, right? If you want, you can pick this stuff up and move it. So right now, look, I'll tell you what, I'll take that chair, put it out there, and that, right? Because they want beds. He's telling you, no, go away. He's telling you they want beds. Sturgis wants you to build some beds. Right. Top tip. Top tip for this game. Beds. Certainly at the beginning. Yeah, okay. Just behave yourselves and be back before your mum comes back, thank you.
Well, I mean, that's not that hard. Mum comes back at like midnight.
No, 11:30, but whatever.
Oh,
Just
you're not going to be until
no, just behave yourselves, alright? That's fine. Right, off you go. Goodbye. Right, so...
Almost like you want me to leave.
No, I just...
I'm joking. Wait, I've got it.
Oh, we've got there. Med-X. Right, we'll store that. Okay. There's just tons of this stuff, right? And you can store it, you can put, which means you can sort of resurrect it later. Like that. Right, store that in the workshop. But early on, what you need is to pick a house, pretty much any house, and right, there's a terminal there, you can't get rid of that. If I move that, what happens to the terminal? It's vanished. Oops. Probably gone forever. It's probably still a bug. Right, okay. So, there's certain stuff you can move and certain stuff you can't. Oh, look. 10mm pistol. We'll store that. Like I say, there are mods where all this stuff, should you be interested in it, is cleared. Now you might wonder why I'm merrily destroying everything in sight in this place. The biggest thing is beds, okay? If you've not played this game before, the first thing that happens is you get settlers. They want food, they want water, they want defence, and they want beds. And out of all of those, bizarrely, beds is almost top priority. So, as you might mention, as you heard, in fact, as Sturgeon said, we want beds. So, furniture, beds. It's very easy to be lured. See all these beds? Look at the difference. Mattress, right? Full on bed. You can build 21 of those. They use 4 steel and 5 cloth. As do the, I believe, all the other variants. You can build a mattress which, believe it or not, is worse. Look, a bed with mattress on it is 4 steel, 5 cloth. A mattress on its own is 6 cloth and 4 steel. How does that work? Okay, here we come. Top tip, sleeping bag. If you want to play this game, you know, mini-max, call it what you will. Sleeping bags. They cost 3 cloth. They're also way smaller than any... You right there, Nigel?
Yeah, that's what we do. If you can get it on the insurance, I will pay you in 2 weeks' time for whatever he's doing.
Okay, right, well, we'll sort it out in a minute, Nigel.
Okay.
We'll sort it out in a minute. Right, I'll just get yourself a cup of tea or whatever, don't panic.
That's right, I was going to go across Garland's.
Right.
I've got a fucking... I came straight and go, try mate, but ball free, we used to stand in the middle of the fucking road and go, boom! And watch you come down and go, dish! I'm like, with the Capri, we're like, oh well.
Right. Hold on, yeah. Domestic crisis. Back in a second.
Don't really want over there knowing wherever she's gone. Has she gone to Debbie's?
Yeah, she's gone to
Oh,
Debbie's.
she's gone to Debbie's.
She's gone to Debbie's. Let me just...
Fuck.
Right, we'll be back in a second.